Good morning. I am Eliazar Ray and we are Group 9. We are going to present to you about political doctrines. So first one is egalitarian justice. So egalitarian justice basically is political philosophy whereas pinapaboran niya na maging pantay ang isang bansa, isang nasyonalidad or uh, isang gobyerno na kung saan ay kailangan pantay-pantay ang tao sa kung saang aspeto man ito naka, nakabase. So maraming uri ng egalitarian justice. Ang unang uri ay economic egalitarianism. Ito ay kung saan ang mga tao sa komunidad ay binibigyan ng pantay na access sa mga economic na resources. Ito ay mga tungkol sa pera. So hindi nito pinapayagan na itong klaseng tao lang ang maging powerful sa economic aspect ng isang bansa. So number 2 is moral egalitarianism. Ito naman ay nakapokus sa equal na respeto sa lahat ng tao, mayaman, mahirap, edukado o hindi. So kailangan pantay-pantay yung respeto ng bawat isa sa bawat isa. Pangatlo, legal egalitarianism. Ito naman yung tungkol sa mga batas kung saan lahat ng tao ay pantay-pantay. Hindi nito pwede gamitin ng batas kung saan para ma-oppress ang isang uri ng tao, isang race, isang class. Number 4, political egalitarianism. Ito naman nakapokus naman ito sa political power or influence. So, kumbaga politika sa bawat isa. So, pantay-pantay ang bawat isa sa mga ganitong klaseng egalitarianism. Halimbawa na lang is democracy. So, lahat ng democracy na bansa ito yung ginagamit na basihan. Number 5 is black egalitarianism. So, ito naman yung tungkol sa mga pagkain, mga material na bagay na kailangan ng tao na dapat pantay-pantay. So, binibigyan itong kahalagahan yung mga ganitong bagay na dinidistribute. So, number 6, gender egalitarianism. Ito naman yung pinapahalagahan ang kahalagahan ng tatay at nanay, basically. So, hindi nito pinapayagan na tatay lang or may mga sexist na gustong sila yung magaling lang, ganyan. So number 7, racial egalitarianism. Ito naman ito yung tungkol sa mga race, kung anong kulay mo, dapat parehas lang din yung karapatan mo sa mga batas at kung ano pa. Yun ang pinapahalaga. Number 8 is opportunity egalitarianism. So ito naman yung pagkakapantay-pantay ng bawat tao sa mga business, paggawa ng business, pagbibigay ng oportunidad sa mga gustong maggawa ng na isang bagay na kung saan sila kikita. So redistribution to ng resources. Number 9, Christian egalitarianism. So, ito naman, nakapokus naman sa pagkakapantay sa Diyos. So, tayo ay pantay-pantay according to Jesus or to Christ. So, this one is focused on the foundations of Christian church values na tinuturo sa church. So,
Socialism or socialist justice. Socialism is a populist economic and political system based on public ownership, also known as collective or common ownership, of the means of production. Those means include the machinery, tools, and factories used to produce goods that aim to directly satisfy human needs. Kasi natin, socialism is a political, social, and economic philosophy encompassing a range of economic and social systems characterized by a social ownership of the means of production. Next is origins and development. Socialism developed in opposition to the excess and abuses of liberal individualism and capitalism. Under early capitalist economies, during the late 18th and 19th century, Western European countries experienced industrial production and compound economic growth at a rapid pace. Some individuals and families rose to riches quickly, while others sank into poverty, creating income inequality and other social concerns. The origin of socialism, the term socialist or socialist can be traced to the Latin word social, which means to combine or share. The present meaning has got sufficient relevance to the Latin meaning thought at present is used in broad sense. As to the first use of the term, almost all the scholars agree that the word socialist or socialism was first used in 1827. Ang konsepto ng socialism o tinatawag nating sosyalistang kaisipan ay unang lumitaw sa tanyag ni Thomas More noong 1478 to 1535. Ang kanyang utopia ay inilathala noong 1516, ilang taon bago siya namatay. Kahit na ang utopia ay tinuturing ng isang unang komprehensibo at sa ilang lawak ng modernong libro. Ayan, sa socialismo o tinatawag ng socialism. Mas marami ang hindi interesado sa pagpapalaganap ng konsepto na ginawa ni Thomas More. Si Thomas More ay nagbigay lamang siya ng sketch na haka-haka na isla na may perpektong pang-ekonomiya, panlipunan at pampolitiko na mga kondisyon ay tinuturing ng mga modernong scholar bilang batayan sa socialismo o socialism. Yun lamang po, thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Danat from Group 4 who assigned to report the selected advantage and disadvantage of some people. Advantage: reduction of relative poverty. It tests the measures of the economic and humanitarian respectively, which emphasize permanently lift the folks out of poverty. Free health care. It helps the people to check what are the right meds whenever they are in sick without hesitation because they will not pay anymore. Diminishing marginal utility of income. It says that the individual's income increases while the extra benefits will decrease because its subsequent dollar is satisfying less. A more equal society is more cohesive. To attain a good and a better society image, the people within must be in cohesion or an action must be done to have a united world. Socialized values encourage selflessness rather than selfishness. In order an individual to stay longer in the world, one must have a good values, great socialized, powerfully built, courage, and more focuses on riches of others are much better than selfishness. Benefits of public ownership. Owners of business could have a greater benefits compensation and advantage when they are categorized as public owners. Environment. Through the environment, people, animal, plants, and everything who are living in the surroundings will benefited to each other respectively. Reduce hidden tax. The public officials must reduce the tax with the individuals paying, with the poverty will lessen. Disadvantage. Lack of incentives. The people cannot enjoy what must be they on because of the lack incentives which may be given by the government, private companies, etc. Government failure. As the leader of the country, they must process the great traits of being a leader to their fellow followers, and if it turn other ways, government failure enter. Welfare state can cause disincentives. For welfare state, which people who manage it can lead to the individuals less sensitive. Powerful unions can cause labor market antagonism. Powerful unions lessen the manpower because its characteristics which machines can replace the needs of the people. Rationing of healthcare. It based on the logical and sensible way that comes with a false outcome, sometimes rather than in a more reasonable and understandable. Difficult to remove subsidized government benefits. This could be helpless to those people who need financial support and other benefits that they might get respective official and organization.
Capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system where private entities own the factors of production. So there are 4 factors. First is entrepreneurship, When we say entrepreneurship, ito yung iba't ibang klase ng business. For example, sa insurance company, BPO companies, sa lahat ng klase ng business when we say entrepreneurship. Next is capital goods. When we say capital goods, ito yung machinery na ginagamit natin for production sa mga goods. For example, sa mga processed foods. Ayan yung mga nilaking makina ginagamit para mapag-produce ng marami na hindi na kailangan ng tao. Makina na gamit. Next is labor. When we say labor, ito yung babayaran ka for your service sa trabaho mo. Ganyan. For example, sa mga construction company, sa mga salon, saan pa ba? Massage, yung mga ganyan. Next is natural resources. Example nito is yung mga madami may lupa dyan. Tapos pinaparent nila sa mga nagbi-business, mga nagtatayo na rin ng mga restaurant or office, ganyan. Or kung may lupa ka din, may mga chemicals na makukuha na pwedeng gawin mga alas, yan, pwedeng gawin, ginagawa na ng business yan. So, sa madaling salita, ang capitalism ay ang sistema ng produksyon kung may-ari ng isang pribadong individual. Dati, ang slavery, napapasok din siya sa capitalism. Lalo na ngayon, sa mga ibang bansa pa rin, uso pa rin yung ganyan, yung slavery na bibenta yung tao para maging katulong, or slave mo yung tao nang walang sahod, ganyan. Pero ngayon, illegal yan dito. So, next is characteristics of capitalism. First is two-class system. Historically, a capitalist society was characterized by the split between two classes of individuals. The capitalist class, which owns the means for producing and distributing goods, and the working class, who sell their labor to capitalist class in exchange for wages. So, ngayon, yun yung pinakaalam natin na klase ng kapitalismo. Yung tatrabaho ka, tapos babayaran ka. Diba? And next is, saan na yun? Second is profit motive. Companies exist to make a profit. The motive for all companies is to make and sell goods and services only for profits. Companies do not exist solely to satisfy people's needs. Even though some goods or services may satisfy needs, they will only be available if the people have the resources to pay for them. So, ito usually, ang target lang nila is mga high-class na tao, mayayaman na tao. Ito yung, for example, sa jewelry, gagawa lang sila kung may papagawa. Sa mga high-end na hotel, ano pa ba? Sa mga sasakyan, ganyan. Next is minimal government intervention. Capitalist societies believe markets should be left alone to operate without government intervention. However, a completely government-free capitalist society exists in theory only. Even in the United States, the poster child for capitalism, the government regulates certain industries, such as the Dodd-Frank Act for financial institutions. By contrast, a purely capitalist society would allow the market to set prices based on demand and supply for the purpose of making profits. So, ang minimal government intervention is, diba sa atin, ang government ang nagpapasya ng price, lalo sa mga bigas, sa pamasahe, sa ibang bagay. Diba nakikita naman natin yon na suggested rated price, yun, nakasulat naman yun, diba? Sa ibang bansa ay nahayaan sila, na sila ang magdesisyon ng presyo ng product nila para sa mas malaking kita. Pero parang maiwasan yung gano'n na mas mahal yung ibenta nila. Kaya nangyayalam din yung gobyerno para maiwasan yung gano'n. Next is competition. True capitalism needs a competitive market. Without competition, monopolies exist. And instead of the market setting the prices, the seller is the price setter, which is against the conditions of capitalism. Diba, sa market, ang nagkocontrol talaga ng price ngayon is market. Pag may nakita kang kalaban mo na mas mura, syempre mas nagbababa ka ng presyo. If wala kang ka-competition, pangit din yun kasi pwede kang magtaas ng presyo. Depende sa'yo. Ano bang maganda example nun? For example, sa isang product na wala kang kagaya, na bentang-benta sa market, pwede mo yung gawing mahal, di ba? For example, maka-invento ka ng instant white cream, ganyan, tapos patok na patok sa market, wala kang ka-competition. So, magmamahal at magmamahal ka kung magkano gusto mo. So, pangit din doon na kailangan may kakompetensya ka. Next is willingness to change. The last characteristics of capitalism is the ability to adapt and change. Technology has been a game changer in every society, and the willingness to allow change and the adaptability of societies to improve inefficiencies with economic structure is a true characteristic. So, willingness to change is dapat ready ka sa lahat kasi dapat innovative ka, dapat ready ka kasi nagbabago-bago yung panahon or may mga circumstances na nangyari. For example, ngayon, ka-pandemic, di ba? Yung mga business ang iba, ang ginawa nila, pwede ka nang mag-order online, i-deliver na lang through card. So, yun yung ginawang discarte ng iba sa business nila. Nag-a-adapt sila sa kung ano yung panahon ngayon, kung ano yung wala ngayon, dapat ready ka, dapat alam mo yung gagawin mo, dapat nag-i-invent ka rin ng bagay kasi tayo, nag-i-improve tayo, nag-i-innovate ang society. So, dapat ganun ka din. Dapat hindi ka lang mag-i-stuck. Dapat innovate ka ng innovate sa isang bagay. So, ayun lang.
This is one of the advantage of capitalism. um, Leads to increased individual wealth. This pushes the individual to work harder to their interests because consumer buy what they want even if it's expensive. When consumer got a better or easy way of living because of your product or your service, they buy it again. And most important for economic growth is capitalism. This include innovation in more efficient production methods to build more product or develop something new for your consumer. Isa ito sa mga hindi magandang epekto ng kapitalismo. Hindi nila pinapansin yung external costs such as climate change or pollution na kahit may maapektuhan sila basta mabilis yung paggawa ng mga products nila, ayos lang. Kasi they donate to the officials who elected to sponsor the laws for their industry. Then minsan may hindi pantay na pagtingin sa mga trabahador kasi minsan yung iba mas delikado yung ginagawa kumpara sa iba, pero pare-parehas lang naman sila ng sinasahod. Ayun po. Thank you po.
So, the last part of our report is capitalism and private property. Private property kasi is a very important part of capitalism dahil ito ay isang characteristic ng capitalism na kung saan wala sa iba. Ito yung special sa capitalism na pwede kang magmay-ari ng isang lupa, ng isang business na walang share sa gobyerno mismo. Hindi katulad sa socialist na gobyerno o communist na kung saan gobyerno ang magkocontrol talaga lang lahat ng mga kita na kung saan pwede nila ipampunin mga asset ng isang kumpanya kung ikaw ay nasa socialist or communist. So, ito ay very fundamental sa isang capitalist. And ayun lamang po sa aming report. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig.